Hello, my friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today we are talking about regular verb pronunciation in the simple past. I call this a bonus lesson because there is no grammar, but it is very important. This is something that is very difficult for non-native speakers to perfect. For example, I've been married to my wife Livia for 7 years now. She still sometimes says a regular verb in the simple past wrong. She still has trouble. She still has difficulties with this ed ending. Okay, now I am going to start with the method, the common method that all other ESL books, schools, and teachers use to teach this pronunciation. I'm going to use this common method. But don't memorize this common method, because I don't use this common method. And I think it's way too complicated and confusing. So don't memorize it. I'm just giving it an introduction. All right, now, here are some pictures of this common method. This guy is teaching his class with this common method here. Now, to understand this common pronunciation method of regular verbs in the simple past, we first need to understand the differences between voiced sounds and unvoiced sounds. Here is a list of voiced sounds. Here is a list of unvoiced sounds. Voiced sounds use the vocal cords. The vocal cords are in our throat. And voiced sounds produce a vibration in the throat. Throat is garganta in Portuguese. All right, now, some voice sounds, for example, we have the letter B. The sound of the letter B is B, B. B produces vibration in the throat. It's a voiced sound. Here we have the letter P. The sound of P is P, P, P. P doesn't produce vibration in the throat. P is an unvoiced sound. Okay. Now, after unvoiced final sounds, sounds from the letters F, K, P, S, CH, SH, we pronounce ED as a T. For example, the verb ask. Ask ends with the letter K and the sound of the letter K. So, we pronounce the ED as a T. I say, you repeat. Asked. Asked. The pronunciation of this ED is a T. All right, now, after voiced final sounds, sounds coming from the letters V, Z, B, L, N, J, M, G, and Y, we pronounce ED as a D. As a D. For example, explained, the verb explain. Explain ends in an N and an N sound. N is a voiced sound. So we pronounce this ED as a D. I say, you repeat. Explained. Explained. Good. Now, after T or D final sounds, the ED is a completely separate syllable. It's a separate syllable, and it sounds like ID, id. I say, you repeat. Needed. Needed. Need is a verb that ends with a D and a D sound. So the ED that represents the simple past is pronounced as a separate syllable. Needed. Needed. Separate syllable. All right. Here is a graph, a chart, a table showing the pronunciations. Dude, people don't learn like this. It's very, very complicated. Look at this. You're going to memorize this? That's extremely complicated. I don't like this common method that all the other schools use. I think people just get confused with this method. I don't think people learn. I think people get confused. Okay, for example, let's say this man is Brazilian. and he's going to the United States for a job interview. And here, the interviewer, the woman, says, "What did you think about your last job?" And he's thinking in his mind, he's thinking, is the end of like, is it voiced or not? How do I pronounce the ed in like? Is it liked? Is it liked? Is it like it? Oh my God, what do I say? And he goes, He is confused, my friends. People don't learn like this. They just get confused. That's why I say, don't memorize this method. It's not important. In the words of Albert Einstein, this is one of my favorite quotes. He says, "Genius is making complex ideas simple, not making simple ideas complex." So I think that this is a simple idea and the books are just making it complex. So I have my own version. Now, I know in this picture I don't look very serious. This is not a serious picture, but I am very serious about my method. My method is very serious to me, despite the fact that this picture is not serious. All right, now, my version. Pronunciation of D and T are extremely similar. The pronunciation of this D and T are very similar. Let's practice. I say, you listen. Just listen. Washed. Played. Cooked. Called. There's a difference, but it's an extremely small difference. Now I say and you repeat. Washed. Played. Cooked. Called. There's a difference, but it's extremely small. And because of this small difference, in my version, only give importance to the ID separate syllable endings. Forget about voiced and unvoiced sounds, and forget about the T and the D pronunciations. Now, we use ID pronunciations when words end with a T or a D. For example, needed, wanted, and did. When the verb ends with a T or a D. Need ends with a D, want ends with a T, and ends with a D. Now, we also use ID when the word ends with T or D sound, but not the letter. For example, decide. Decide ends with an E, but it ends with a D sound. Decide. It's not decide. No, it's decide. In the simple past, decided. Hate. Another example. Hate ends with an E. It doesn't end with a T, but we don't pronounce the T. So we add the ID sound, the separate syllable sound. I say, you repeat. Decide. Decided. Hate. Hated. Waste. Wasted. Good. Okay, some extra words for this chapter. Cozy. Cozy is a synonym with comfortable. This is a cozy room, a cozy bed, a cozy man. All right, handicrafts. These are all examples of handicrafts. Handicrafts are also called arts and crafts. What are these in Portuguese? Artisanado. Yes, handicrafts are arts and crafts. A stand. A stand is a place where stuff is sold, typically in an outdoor market or the street. What is a stand in Portuguese? I believe a stand in Portuguese is a barraco. An inn. An inn is a small, comfortable hotel owned and operated by a family. It's typically not a chain hotel, in Portuguese you call franquia. It's an individual, small, comfortable hotel, an inn. Think like a posada in Portuguese. A spice. A spice is what we put on food to add flavor. Oregano is a spice, for example. Now, spicy is an adjective describing strong flavor from pepper. Spicy is pimenta in Portuguese. Now, an adjective with pimenta is hot. We can say spicy or hot. Ruins. Ruins are historically important structures that have been